Hi, my name is Margot. I work with New Roots in Salt Lake City, and I will be talking about filing taxes for New Roots farmers in this class today. For this class, we will start with vocabulary and an introduction to taxes in the United States, then cover the documents you need to file taxes, then tax filing options, and last, what to do with your New Roots farm income. So to start with, some vocabulary. The first term is filing taxes. This is filling out the tax forms and mailing or electronically sending the forms to the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS. At the top right of the page is an example of the main tax form, a 1040 individual income tax return. And once this is filled out and filed with the IRS, then this represents the next word, which is tax return. So a tax return is this government form or multiple forms that show how much money you owe or are owed by the government for taxes. The next phrase is a tax refund, which is the amount of money the government owes you. In order to be able to get a tax refund, you have to file your taxes. You won't get a tax refund automatically. You have to kind of ask for it. Then the last term is a W-2, which is a form from your employer. And your employer legally has to provide this for you. It shows how much money that your employer paid you and how much taxes were taken out for that year. So to introduce taxes in the U.S., why do we pay taxes? So in short, we pay taxes to fund the government. And in the United States, when do you need to file your taxes by? And yes, the date here in big red is April 15th. That is generally the tax deadline each year. So the forms you need to complete for your taxes should be mailed out by the end of January from your employer or from your bank. And so that gives you about 2.5 months to make sure you get your taxes filed. Everyone needs to fill out both a federal and state tax return. And if you lived in multiple states in the past year, then you will need a state tax return form for every state you lived in for that year. So the forms that I mentioned earlier is not something you will get from New Roots. Even though you are making money and a check is often written to you from the IRC or New Roots, you are not an employee of New Roots. The farm income is your own income, your own self-employment income, and it is your responsibility to track the total income and expenses you have over the year. So this brings us to part 2, where we will explain what documents you need to have ready when filing your taxes. So here is a long list of documents you may need to file your taxes. I will read through this list and then go into more detail on the next slides. So for a tax appointment, you will want to bring a photo identification, picture ID, driver's license, or just a proof of ID, social security numbers for you, your spouse, and any dependents or children, birth dates as well, the forms that we mentioned before, forms from your employer, from your bank. If you own a home, there is a mortgage interest statement. If you went to university and have student loan debt, there's a student loan statement. And then a copy of last year's federal and state returns, and a proof of banking account number. And for your farm records, you will want a collection of your receipts, or documentation of things that you purchased, like seeds, supplies, vehicle, anything like that. So here is an example of a W-2. This is the main document you would want for filing taxes. As you can see, it shows the amount of money this person made, and then the amount of federal taxes, Social Security, and Medicare that was taken out for that year. Another thing that's important to keep is a copy of each year's tax return, and then you can bring that when you are filing your taxes. So you'll want to have that available for the next year. With your bank account and routing number, you can make sure to get any tax refund as fast as possible. If you have a blank check from your bank, the first number will be the routing number and the second number will be the account number, and that way you can get a tax refund via direct deposit. This next form is only if you own your house. So if you purchased your house, then you will have a form saying how much interest you've paid on your loan or mortgage, and this can help reduce how much is your taxable income. So now we are at part 3. Options for filing taxes. Option number 1 is to file your taxes by mail. This requires getting all the forms you need, filling them out, and mailing them to the IRS office. This option does take more time for you to hear back from the IRS or receive a tax refund, so that is something to keep in mind. Option number 2 is to have a tax professional help you fill out the forms. VITA is a volunteer income tax assistance service. They offer free tax help each year for people who make under a certain amount of money. And the IRC works with VITA tax volunteers each year, so we can help you sign up for an appointment to get your taxes completed and work with a tax professional. Option 3 is to file your own taxes online through a tax preparation software. There's a couple links here, one being on the IRS website. They have different software that allow you to file your taxes for free. Often you have to make below $72,000 for that year to qualify, or else you might have to pay a small amount. Another option is myfreetaxes.com. It's a website you can visit and see how you can file taxes for free. Online is a great, easy way to get some help with filing your taxes, but ultimately do it yourself. You will just ask questions as they come up on your computer screen and enter in all the information that you see on your forms, on your W-2 form, and other forms. So the last part is to talk about our farm income and how to report this on your taxes. So you'll want to keep track of your farm income and expenses during the year so that you can accurately report your total income. So there is first your total gross sales, which is your sales from each avenue, from farmers markets, the CSA, wholesale, added up gives you your gross sales. And then you want to calculate all of your expenses so that you can subtract that to get your net income. New Roots will often tell you the fees that you paid during the year. Here the fees covered land, seeds, supplies, and water. But it's possible that this farmer purchased other things. They may have purchased their own seeds, their own supplies, or their own equipment. So you want to add that to this number so that you can subtract it from your total sales. So you will need to pay taxes on this farm income if you make more than $400 in a year. And the self-employment income tax is generally 15.3%. So for this net income, if we calculate a 15.3% tax, that gives us about $550 in taxes that this person owes. But if they can think of other costs, other things that they bought, they can add to this number of farm fees so that they can reduce their net income and reduce the taxable amount. To report farm income, you will use a Schedule F form that can be submitted with the 1040 form. This first part of the form is where you will write your name, social security number, and under principal crop, you will put vegetables. Then you will continue to fill out this Schedule F form. So this is part 1 of the Schedule F form, and you can see on line 2 is where you would report sales of produce, and then that gives you your gross income. So that is the first amount, everything that you sold in that year. Then what you'll want to do is add up all of your expenses. Here they have them separated out so you can put in seeds and plants, supplies, and any other expenses, and add that up to calculate your total expenses on this bottom line, line 33. The next step is to subtract your expenses from your gross income sales and record that number on line 34. This number shows your net farm profit or loss. If a farmer had high expenses one year, it is possible to have a negative number here. So it can be a profit or a loss, positive or negative number. The last step is to enter that final amount for your farm income into line 18 of the 1040 form. You will submit the Schedule F form with your sales and expenses to the IRS with all other documents. Now let's review. Think about what documents you will need to prepare when it is time to file your taxes. We covered a lot of information today. Let's review 3 steps you can take to file taxes. And please remember to ask for help if you have any questions. Step 1, make a plan for how you will file your taxes before April 15th, the deadline. Step 2, gather all the documents you will need. This is W-2s, last year's tax return, bank forms, farm income and expenses, and bank account and routing number. Those are just a few of the documents you will probably need. And step 3, file your tax documents either by mail, online, or with the help of a tax professional. Thank you for listening. I hope this class was helpful. Have a good day.